All right, team, trap 3 raise, okay? We're gonna do a prone trap 3 raise. Again, this is one of our structural balance exercises for upper back and shoulder health, okay? This exercise is a primary exercise on working trap 3, or think lower traps, as well as serratus anterior. It's a movement that is looking at scapular rotation or scapulohumeral rhythm. We're gonna set the bench up on a low incline. In this case, this bench is as low as I can go, maintaining my arm position. I'm gonna demonstrate the movement really quickly. I want you to note the fact my head remains on the bench. I maintain as neutral a position in my torso as possible. I set my shoulder every single repetition, and then I'm opening my hand up as I go. So the thumb is leading the way through the exercise. The tempo I will use is 4-0-1-0. Here we go. Trap 3 raise. Now, again, we have to have a little bit of anatomy understanding as to what it is that we're working. You would have to go back and do a little study on where the lower trap originates. It originates down the spine at the base of the trap, and it comes up on, connects to the scapular spine. It is part of the rotation, the upward rotation of the scapula along with the serratus anterior. So again, it can be incredibly important in all pressing exercises and overhead exercises. So think lat pull downs, butterfly pull-ups, kipping pull-ups, bench press, pressing, jerk mechanics, okay? Anything that's gonna come and involve the scapula and a scapular rotation, all right? Now the reason for some of the mechanical and setup portion of this movement is to ensure the scapula is in the right place before we initiate the movement. And again, what we want to think about is that we're going to be taking the scapula on the thorax and upwardly rotating. So we're going to set the position, the scapula is going to rotate lightly and then elevate on the last portion of the movement. This is very important to understand when executing this position. So when I get down on the bench, it's very important I don't have a bunch of thoracic extension, because you could do this movement swinging. I need you to think about bracing and pushing your belly into the bench and keeping your head neutral throughout. So usually it's forehead into the bench. When you set the shoulder, you're pulling your shoulder back and down into a neutral position. You don't have to over-exaggerate the position, just bring it into a neutral position. Okay? And again, neutral being why I'm using bunny ears or solely is it's a difficult one to express, but the scapula are going to slightly depress, almost just sit into a natural position with not extreme retraction or protraction. Now, when we're on the elevation here, what happens is the arm is hanging somewhere between 30 and 40 degrees from the body angle, from neutral here, so we're hanging in this position when I'm off the bench. And if you know anything about scapulohumeral rhythm, you know that the scapula doesn't rotate through the first 30 to upwards of 40 degrees of abduction and flexion. So because of that, once we're starting in this position, what we want to think about is rotating the scapula on the back up. So when you come to about 90, you can almost have a little bit of a reach, but you're not exaggerating the reach whatsoever, but you can think and internally cue the position to have the scapula rotating with very slight elevation in the last component of the lift. One more time, let's do a demonstration so you can put that into play. Brace the core, head on, shoulder set, turn out, scapular plane, reach, down on tempo, reset. And the reset has to happen on every single repetition, because as you go through that position, which is in scapular plane, you're going to have a loss of the scapular position. So as you go up and rotate and extend, you have to come back and reset the position every single time. And that's why you're going to see a very conscious resetting in all the videos, all right? So this is the trap 3 exercise, guys. I hope that made sense. Thanks a ton. See you soon.